which is the change management. So this is what it is. There are two subtopics in this. So there will be three parts. First, I will try to understand the concept of change management, and then we will go into the responses, and then finally, how do we develop our ability to accept change, and how do we deal with it. So as you can see, this one is a simple slide. If you quickly go through, then we'll have a quick chat. So the first one is pretty simple. Second is our acceptance that every moment things are changing. There is this famous saying, the only thing permanent in life is change. So that is happening in our lives all the time, from the smallest to the largest degree, right? So it is a human as well as a, now we are coming to the organizational change because the heading of the slide itself is work change. So human as well as a technical problem, you need to change technology. Right now we are having technology issues and there is a human issue also. I don't know which one is a problem. My side, whether I'm not doing it properly or is it really a technical problem, right? So that it is always a kind of mix of the two. And given today's COVID days, it has become all the more important that the human and the technical parts synergize very well. Then the last part is the key. We should never forget that whatever change we bring about in an organization, that is going to affect lots of other parts. It is exactly like an Excel sheet. If you have fed a formula, then one change in any of the boxes will lead to wherever that change affects. So whether it is totals or multiplications or whatever, it will have changes in all those parts. Now we in India, and as you know, I always stress on Indian ethos. Of course, there is no harm in absorbing Western concepts or Japanese concepts, no issue. But to undermine our ethos is a problem because we have been knowing all. If you look at Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh concept, unfortunately, this I had probably brought out in the first term also. It is all about change. So everything in this world gets created one day, that is Brahma. Everything in this world is maintained for a certain time, that is Vishnu. And then there is a destruction and a new thing takes over. So the constructive destruction, so to say, right? So whether it is a human life or any other life or any other building or whatever. So anyway, organization also, like last time we were doing the, phases in an organization because we were talking about the organizational life cycle. So change is a permanent feature. It will keep on happening. And the only way to handle change is to start adapting to it, which is the second or the last part of this topic. Now, so obviously, every management would like to have a stable environment. And if there is a change, management will try to restore and maintain the group's equilibrium. Right? So, key process, what we just talked about, clearly indicates that it is a key process for organizational success. This is another very, very important point. In the social sciences, in the realm of social sciences, unlike pure science, there is no one single way. 2 plus 2 can be 4, 2 plus 2 can be 3, or 2 plus 2 can be 5 or 11 or whatever, 22. So that is what we have to remember, that just because some kind of a change initiative works in organization A does not ensure that it will also work in organization B. So that's what we need to understand. No single way. So each one of us in our own organizations have to think deeply as to what is likely to work in this, and we must also be ready that if something is not working, we need to also look at other alternatives. If one single way is not working, as I think Einstein said, that if you keep on doing the same thing in the same way, but expect different results, then it is not going to happen. So, and that is the kind of concept Marshall Goldsmith has very popularized in his book. What brought you here will not take you there, right? So, even if you have been successful, one is you are not becoming successful by using a particular methodology. So, try out some other method rather than giving up the goal altogether. But even after a couple of attempts that doesn't work, then you have to seriously think whether you set a wrong goal. Although, even if you succeed, that is not going to be a permanent solution forever. So there is no single permanent solution, no single formula that can work for it. And in today's ever-changing world and the speed at which things are changing, you need to relook at it all the time. Right? Now, so this is a kind of summary of what we have talked so far. Organizations do not present one-time problems to be solved, and problems are never solved once and for all. Very simple to understand, but complicated to implement. The only thing that is permanent is change we have discussed. Change is clearly a key concept in achieving an innovative and flexible organization. In fact, this adaptation to change, which we will do in the last part of today's topic, is all about this. Are you innovative? Are you flexible enough to accept the changes, redo your processes, change your standard operating procedures, etc.? Only then you will be able to succeed. Now, it needs a little understanding here that there are three perspectives from which change can be analyzed or looked at. One is what is already there, you improve it. The typical example is Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese concept which is a combination of two words. Kai means constant, Zen means improvement. Frankly, I have done all this, that's why I'm moving pretty fast in our year one business strategy and HRD. We had a small part of change management. So this introductory part is nothing but what we have done there. So that is why I'm moving pretty fast. So there is something already there. You just change that and make it, try to make it better. So it could be a 2% improvement, 5% improvement, something like that. It is called change in form. Whatever is there is improved. This is called developmental change. Then we bring about transitional change. What is transitional change? There is a known state, something which has worked elsewhere. In another company, it may have worked, and you want to bring that into your company. It is not yet there in your company, but it is a tried and tested method which you want to now bring in. So it is implementation of a known state, but a new state for you. That is why known new state, right? Which is slightly different from the developmental part. And then you have the transformational emergence of a completely new state, change of form. This is called transformational, right? For example, this still March, early March, if somebody had said that we will have to stick to our houses for 3 months, 4 months, and we have to wear masks all the time and avoid meeting people, it would have been kind of absolutely strange. Then today that is the reality. So this is an emergence of new state. Okay. So Till March, India was not even making even one single PPE. And today, we are the second highest manufacturer and we are ready to export. So this is the point that transformational, you don't know how much you can do unless you try. All these people who are constantly cribbing. So you find two kinds of people and very much relevant to say regarding the China thing, that there are a set of people who say, no, 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 how can it be, you can't suddenly change this. That no one is saying, any sensible person will not say that you can suddenly change. China also didn't achieve all this in way back in 79, 80, 40 years back. We were almost equal. So they achieved it over 40 years. So obviously there's no way you can achieve it in a day. But to achieve anything, you have to start. He is a classic example that if you start, you can reach a stage which is completely unknown and unthinkable. And the other kind of emotional people who will break up all the Chinese stuff that they have bought, etc., etc. Now that's also sheer madness, lunatic behavior. You have already invested your money and bought a mobile or a PC or whatever. China has already got the money out of it. So why are you spoiling your hard-earned money? Yes, decide that no new thing I will buy. Gradually I will give. Everything has to be done on a gradual basis. So to transformational, I am spending some time because today's organizations need transformational change. A completely new state we may have to evolve an own kind of state, which we have not done so, right? So I hope these three are developmental, transitional, and transformational perspectives on change. Then another way of looking at change, in fact, they overlap. They overlap. You can see that incremental or evolutionary change is the developmental change in small steps. One equilibrium state to another takes time. This is what I was talking about, that if you want to change something, most of the things won't change in a day's time. It will take it. And the second way of defining it is discontinuous or radical change. This is typically the transformational change, breaking change, frame breaking change, new ways of doing business, dynamic. And in a VUCA world, this is coming to stay with us. We have to change. Not only change, we have to change at a fast speed. So this part, I think you can do on your own because this is only information. There is nothing to explain. These are the key trends that are happening the world over. These are also continuation of the same. Earlier, there used to be very hierarchical organizations. Today, organizations are more networked. There is very less distance. Yes?
In your
Go ahead.
That is slide 20. In the transitional implementation of a known new state. Could you elaborate on this, please?
Slide 18, you mean? Transformational. All 18, right?
Yes.
This one?
Yes. Transitional implementation of a known new state.
Yeah. As I said, here what is happening is it is linked to the first one. In the first one, you are running a particular process in a particular way, or you are running a particular machine to improve that. That is development. Okay. Transitional is you do not have that machine, but you come to know that your competitor has that machine and it is giving good results. So your neighbor has a fridge, you don't have a fridge. I mean, I'm taking a hypothetical example. Your neighbor has a TV, you don't have a TV, right? So you pick up the idea that there is a known state which is better than my state. and you bring that in. It is not an unknown state that you are implementing. So it's a state of transition. You are improving, yes, but not improving on what you already have. Then it would be development. Transitional is improvement. It is a known thing, but you do not have it right now. And transformational is when you are bringing in a state which nobody has done before. It's a completely new thing that you are doing. It's
That means
not a known thing.
that means it is not being practiced anywhere.
Sorry,
That means it is not
please.
being practiced anywhere.
Absolutely. Transformational is where it is a completely new thing, where there is no known state, no, you don't know whether it will be useful or not, etc. Like, this COVID medicine research that is going on. One day when the medicine evolves, it is a transformational thing. There was nothing. Where
Thank you.
implementation of a known state, because your question was relating to transitional would mean, okay, in US or in Japan or in Europe, a medicine has been there. India doesn't have it, so we bring it. So we know that it is a tried and tested kind of thing. That's about. That is transitional, somewhere in between. And developmental is you already have it and you are gradually improving whatever
Improving
you
on.
Yeah, it is a constant improvement, a little, 2, 3, 5% kind of an approach. Have I been able to explain?
Yes. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. So, incremental or evolutionary is the developmental, discontinuous or radical. It can also be, you see, these jargons, unless you use jargons, you're not a management person, that is the kind of thing going. So, different authors will use different terminology. Someone will call it discontinuous, someone will call it radical, frame breaking, new way of doing business, dynamics of business, all of it. So, these are trends, as I said, and these trends are, of course, very prominent, that hierarchies are going away. Business organizations, first name basis has almost come in into most of the business organizations. Individuals, teams are much more important than individual contributions, etc. I know of some people who have been asked to leave an organization in spite of being individually brilliant because they could not get along with others. So, and I can give you many examples in my learning and development programs also. Let me quickly give you one. There was this guy in a software company, excellent software engineer. So his general manager was interacting with me for presentation skills and other communication skills programs. So we were finalizing that. So at that point in time, he called me that, I have a guy who's brilliant technically. Unfortunately, he has been sent back from sent back from an on-site project only and only because he just did not get along with people. His soft skills are terrible. So, and then comes the problem. He says, I kind of suggested to him that, we are having this program, why don't you attend it? So his reaction was, somebody who doesn't know technology, what can he teach me? That was the kind of reaction. So he was not even interested, not realizing that in spite of having been sent back by the client. So I told this GM that anyway I'm coming tomorrow to finalize everything. So kindly ensure that he is there in the office when we have this meeting. So he says, what will you do? I said, that you leave to me. So he was very curious to know what I'll do. I said, don't worry, let me come. So I went and we were having that meeting. And then in between I said, okay, is this gentleman the one you were talking about yesterday? Is he there? So kindly call him. Again he asked, what will you do? What will you tell him? He said, please don't worry. Just invite him to your room and let me handle it. So he called him. So I greeted him warmly. And you know what I told him? Sorry. I told him that, I don't know whether you know or not. That is the way I started. So we we are kind of planning to have a program on presentation and communication skills. So I was discussing with him, that is telling him his boss, general manager, and I asked him a question that, I am not a technical person. So just in case I get stuck somewhere during the program with a technical query, maybe communication related, but technical in content, I won't be able to handle. So I requested him that, is there anybody in your team who can be with me to help me out? And he immediately gave your name. So this is the way I motivated him, that, now the point you see, what is my objective? My objective is to bring him into the training room for those 3 days. So whether he is called a participant or he is there to, help me with the technology, though there was nothing technical in the program. So I just wanted him with me in this, so he would obviously see whatever is happening. That was the end objective. And it was such a wonderful surprise for me at the end of 3 days, which ended on a Friday evening. So he tells me, I'm so sorry that, I have to have a ticket for Hyderabad and I have to catch the night flight. These 3 days have been so wonderful that I would have taken you out for dinner. So that is how you have to manage, individuals to team. So he is a great technical guy, but he has to understand that I have to carry my team along. I have to carry my team members, my boss, my juniors, everybody else. So those are the kind of friends. No big task can be achieved by individuals. So those are the friends, and organizations are changing. Earlier, bright individuals were, the stars. But today you have star teams rather than star individuals. So if you look at the lower part, these joint ventures, cross-border mergers, we have already done a bit of mergers, acquisitions, partnerships. Everywhere you see, the way organizations are managed is becoming different and different. And that means we have to bring about change, accept change. So now this is where the human response comes in. Just quickly go through, then we'll start with an example here. So let's take an example of banks. We all have to deal with banks, and therefore it should be a common example for everybody. We also know that at a time when bank staff, they go on strike, 1 day strike, 2 days strike, whatever. Right? Now, regarding strike, if you talk to some close friend or relative who works in a bank, many times you will get a response, ये यूनियन वाले करते रहते हैं, क्या करें, काम तो फिर भी जाके हमें ही करना पड़ेगा, unnecessarily ये होता है, होना जाना कुछ है नहीं. Now, if you look at the response, what are you getting? The individual response is not for the, but why is that person sitting at home? Why is he not in the bank? Or why is he not in the bank? This is what is reflected in this slide. Though, read the second para, though people individually interpret change, they often show their attachment to the group by joining with it in some uniform response to change. Now take the example of political parties. The spokespersons of political parties may have a completely different, we understand what the reality is. But typically, this is what is called a party line. The moment they change to the other party, their whole singing tune changes. And that their individual response to change is different, and their group response to change is different. This is what you need to understand. So, the idea that is to be understood from here for practical application is, please do not take people what they say on the face value. Try to explore a little more to know whether they are really supporting the thing or they are not. In the next topic tomorrow, we will do the most important thing I feel, source field analysis in change management, right? So then you will get the depth of this. So work change operates to each employee's attitude to produce a response that is conditioned by feelings towards the change. This is the individual response, which may not be reflected in public. When you talk to them on an individual basis, you will get a different picture. And when you look at that person as a member of a particular team or a particular department, then or a particular union, then you will find that the person is talking this. So that is the reality which we have to understand when we are looking into managing change. Very simple. If a flyover is being built next to or a metro station is built, like we had that experience about 2-3 years back, back in the front of my flat, park was taken up and it has become a metro station exit and entry gate. So while the construction is on, obviously, and we lost out on the park also, most of it, a little bit is left. So what does it mean? But now you see, friends are constantly telling me you have such wonderful thing. You just get down from your staircase and you have the metro. So we have paid the cost, and of course there are related benefits also. So some people who don't have to travel much, or some people who, for example, I hardly ever travel by metro. So for me, it is not a great benefit. Maybe tomorrow, when I'm not so fit to drive a car or something like that, older age or something, it may become a benefit. So the message here is that if you want to bring about change, you have to pay a cost. When a flyover is being constructed, there is a lot of dirt, noise, everything, traffic jam, all of that. But once the flyover is made, you get the benefits of it. So that is something which will always be there whenever you think of change. It can't be smooth from day one. You have to pay some cost to reap the benefits later. When you think of change and the situation that you are trying to change, then you have to look at the time over which you need to change. How will the transition happen? And what are going to be the new work arrangements? Like right now is a classic example. In fact, a very complicated one, because the time frame itself is not. When you plan a change like a building a flyover, or reaching a certain, now coming back to the corporate, reaching a certain kind of turnover or a certain kind of profit, you have a plan. Okay, in the next 2 years I want to do this, in the next 1 year I want to do this. But in a COVID situation, everything is so hazy, so fuzzy, there is no time frame. But there is a need to change for sure, and we are in a state of transition. We don't know what are the new work arrangements. Some work arrangements right now, what we are doing is definitely a new work arrangement. Till the middle of Feb, we actually used to meet, but then there is a new work arrangement. So luckily for us, when we are inside corporate and such massive change like a COVID situation is not there, we have some kind of time frame within which we plan why there is a need for change and what we are going to change and how we are going to change. How we are going to change is the transition. New work arrangement. Now, what will happen? Work from home, etc. These are new work arrangements. There are companies which start a new office in a region when they want to expand into that region. There are other companies who will manage everything from the head. That's the policy decision they take. Again, a cost benefit analysis. If we open an office in Bengaluru for managing South or Chennai or Hyderabad, what will be the cost and what is the benefits that we are going to get? If we operate from Delhi, we save massive costs on office space and all of that. And our guys can travel. And even if they stay in hotels or whatever, it will still cost us less. So that is the decision of new work arrangement is based again on cost benefit analysis. Then what are the determinants of change? As I said, whenever you are thinking of change, you have to think of what are the determinants. What is the substance of change? Are you finding that your technology needs to change? Are you finding that the people who are there are not the right kind of people to operate your company's work in the way you want them to work? What is the substance? Is it people changes? We have already done process and structure, right? So that will determine what kind of change in terms of substance we need to bring. What is the context of it? Is it because you are being hit by your competition? Is it that you want to bring out a new product for which there is a need for example, most of these large computer organizations today, they are known for their, whether it is HCL or in your Wipro. I'm saying this, I'm not taking Infosys and TCS because Infosys and TCS were never into hardware. Wipro and HCL started with hardware, but they realized that they cannot compete with the gray market. The computer hardware became a commodity like rice and dal. So they went into software. The context of change. Do you want to improve your hardware only? After all, hardware is also obviously needed. The more the computerization, first hardware comes, then only software can go into it. So, context of change. And of course, the politics of change. When you are in a certain environment, being governed by certain kinds of law, then you are growing, but you do not go well with the new dispensation that comes in, and you are in difficulty. Jokingly, it is said that India has done well in two spheres. One is IT and one is beauty, and they have done well because there was no Ministry of IT when they were growing, and there is no Ministry of Beauty. So that means if the politics of change is not there, many organizations probably will be able to succeed better. So what kind of political framework are you having? And also determine what kind of change you need to bring. Right? So there are a lot of organizations who thrive very well. If any of you unfortunately have invested in one of these real estate companies, like some of my close relatives, they were investing in JP. That was Mayawati's time. And I told them that, please don't do it. The moment Mayawati government goes, JP group will crumble. And that's exactly what happened. Now they've invested 50 lakhs, 50 lakhs in that property. It is all stuck. Cases are going on. Nothing is happening. So politics of you have also be savvy to realize that what if there is a political change, right? Of course, everything cannot be predicted, right? But still, if you have predicted it, even if there is a discontinuous hit like the COVID thing, you can still manage a little bit better than if you are completely unclear. So these are the typical determinants of change. There are three kinds of resistance. We are talking of human behavior vis-a-vis change. There would be some logical resistance to change. If you suddenly, if I stay in South Delhi and my office is in Nehru Place and it's walking distance, you suddenly change to Noida or to some other area of NCR. So my resistance that I'll have to spend more time traveling, I have to spend more money in traveling. These kind of facts and figures wise, if I can, if I have a resistance, that's the logical way. Psychological resistance is based on emotions, sentiments, and attitudes. Now, if I am suddenly posted down south, for all you know, I might get a better boss there. I might get better weather conditions there, etc., etc. Right? But there is a psychological resistance. So I'm so comfortable here, and I have this whole set of friends here. So that is a psychological. And the third is sociological. As I told you, go back to the bank example. There is a resistance towards the management, but we organize the union of bank officers or banks. But individuals in that who are participating in that strike may not actually feel that way. They are participating in the strike, but they are not doing it out of their own free will. It is because of group pressure, peer pressure. So those are sociology, right? So since time is a little less, I will quickly part unless you have a specific. So economic factors, for instance, generally would be a logical sort of resistance. If there is an economic harm to me and I resist that and show you that, this is the way I lose money. Inconvenience is partly economical and partly maybe psychological. Insecurity, partly maybe psychological, partly sociological, right? Resentment against control, partly psychological, partly sociological. So this is a list of major causes why people resist change. So causes are very clear, and therefore more important is how do we reduce resistance to change. So one of the ways is offer solution as per cause. Please listen to people carefully, jot down their resistances, and maybe pure psychological. If there is a real economic reason, can you somehow, for example, I know of companies who shifted their office to, as I said, from let's say Nehru Place to Noida, Noida. So what they did was, okay, you all come to this office only. We will provide transportation from here so that you are not inconvenienced. And we will also give you a 1 hour extra. So half an hour company will bear, half an hour will also bear. So whatever is the cause of resistance, let us find a solution as per cause and be reasonable for both parties. Communication is very, very important. Please communicate what is happening and why is it needed. We don't tell people why it is needed and then expect them to cooperate with it, which is not going to help. Please check whether it is understood correct. There is so much of misinformation happening, right? For example, just to give you completely away from this because this is the hot topic now. Now, a lot of people who are debating on TV about Vikas Dubey's murder, when encounter, the murder of the policeman earlier and Vikas Dubey's encounter. Now, they are cribbing that how is it that he was not handcuffed, such as hardened criminal. Now, what they do not know is that there is a Supreme Court ruling. You cannot handcuff a person unless if Madhya Pradesh police had arrested him, then they would need a transit remand to hand over to UP police. So these are technicalities of law and procedure. They come on TV and just scream their head out. Why was he not handcuffed? Hey, they have to follow the Supreme Court ruling unless you take a transit remand. You cannot have a handcuff. So that was not done, and therefore there was no formal arrest by the Madhya Pradesh. So these are the technicalities that you have to understand. So whether it has been understood correctly or not, you may have the best interest of the person in mind, but as the person being made to understand why you are doing it, how he or she benefits. Because the only way to motivate people is to show them how it will benefit them, plain and simple. I am not interested that you will benefit and I should put in the hard work. You must, if you are bringing in the change, you have to sit down with me and explain as to how I stand. And if you can do that, I will accept this. So it needs a lot of communication and checking back also. Communication is not a one-way communication. Communication also means getting feedback that it has been understood. Typically, you will find, and these are, little tips which I find even senior managers, general managers, vice presidents not adopting and not even realizing. Communication is not a one-way traffic. What they will do is, Saurya, have you understood? Now the person out of fear of the boss will say, yes, I have understood. That is no way. If it is an important thing, please tell him to tell you what he has understood. That is communication getting completed. And at least 30-40% of the times you will realize that what he is telling you back is not what you wanted him. He has not understood. So just saying, have you understood is no, right? So has it removed lingering doubts and answered the questions that the person may have? So that is how communication gets complete. Listening is a very important skill in resisting change. You will find most employees who have a complaint against an organization. Typically, their first sentence is, "यहाँ सुनवाई नहीं, लोग सुनते नहीं." I'm not saying मेरी problem नहीं solved. So the step towards making people reduce their resistance to change is a patient. सुन लो. पूरी सुनने के बाद then you decide how to go. Capture is bothering them, and that can happen only when. And listening is such an important skill. How do you ever sell properly if you have not understood what the customer needs? You will provide a wrong solution. So please listen carefully. And in this case, your employees are your customers. They are your internal customers. They are resisting change. You have to listen to them carefully and then try to reduce that resistance. Involve the decision-making process and in the implementation. Nobody likes orders forced down their throat unless it's an emergency situation. So, whenever possible, like why did the Japanese succeed so much? Their decision-making process is a slow process, but they will convince everybody, and ultimately a consensus will emerge. So then it becomes our decision, not my decision or your decision. So that is how try to involve the group. Maybe 5-10% of the information that you have as a senior person could be confidential. But 90% of organizational information is not confidential, particularly with your team. So if you involve them in the decision-making process, you can get wonderful ideas from them. And we have done a bit of it in terms of the quality circles and such other concepts that we did earlier. So everywhere, involve them in the decision-making process, and therefore, automatically the implementation process will be better because they feel that this is our decision. This is not the boss's decision. But if I force someone, my team, to follow what I say, then if something goes wrong, they will very clearly say, "ये तो सुमित चौधरी ने बोला था, उसको पूछो, मुझे क्या?" That should not happen. Then open a dialogue, bargain with the trade union. Trade union will always ask for the moon, or any union for that matter. So you have to bring them to a reasonable place. So you have to give up something and you have to accept. Then this is a crucial decision. Do you need to go slow on the change or fast on it? Should it be gradual or in one step? Should it be a tentative tryout or a permanent change? So this is how you have to decide. These are the tips to decide how to reduce resistance in the change. So basically, two things emerge out of it as a summing up process. Resistance to change is a human as well as a technical, financial, or legal problem. The same concept of structural and process comes in. Resistance to change is a fact of life. If handled tactfully, one may be able to reduce its intensity to some extent, but cannot eradicate it completely. Now, this is what will become very clear when tomorrow we do the force field analysis of earth fluence. That's a very, very important concept. So now the last part, we need to develop adaptability to change. We have accepted that change is happening, and we don't even realize. A very interesting example was given by Dr. Deepak Chopra. Some of you may be aware of him. He is considered to be a very great guru, spiritual guru. He was guru to like Michael Jackson and all. And he's an Indian and a medical doctor. He did it at AIMS, then settled in US for many, many years. But he has kind of moved away from medical practice. But he's a spiritual guru. He came to India, and I was lucky enough to get a pass to attend his live program. So many good things he did. I mean, I am not the kind who will blindly believe in any single guru, but I pick up points from every single person. That is the way I do it. If it appeals to me, it does not matter who is giving you. But coming from a medical doctor, he made a huge sense. He says, what we do not realize is, I'm only raising one point here relating to this adaptability to change and acceptance of change. He said that if you just go back 1 year in time, so today is 11th of July, 2020, you go back to 12th of July, 2019, exactly 1 year, and keep track of what happens to your body in this 1 year. It is obvious that we are inhaling too much of air, exhaling it. So atoms and molecules are getting in and they are getting out. Similarly, we are eating and throwing out. So if you keep a track of the atoms and molecules that made up your body on 12th of July 2019, and if you compare it with the atoms and molecules that are there constituting your body today, you will find that 98% of those atoms and molecules that constituted your body in 2019, 12th of, on 2019, 12th of July would have gone out of your system. how is it that you still remain fairly the same? So your physical composition of the body has changed so much. 98% of that of the molecules are right, but you still remain substantially the same. That is how we brought in the concept of soul. What is that extra beyond the physical body? And it is a fact. When someone unfortunately passes away, the physical body is very much there. So what is not there? So same way, we have to give importance to the change that is happening, which we are not even able to fathom. We are not even aware of. We need to be more sensitive to change. Bringing up children, a huge responsibility. What is the kind of change that is happening? People who are in constant communication with their children, one fine morning से पता नहीं ऐसे क्यों करता है, पता नहीं मुझे तो कुछ बताता नहीं है क्या करता है. Now, when did you encourage the child to share things? How are you going to know what is happening in his or her mind? So we need to look at adaptability to change very, very seriously. So as you can see here, if we want to remain relevant, valuable, and at the forefront of competitive edge, adapting to change is the only. It is a leadership choice to remain current, but doing so does not change who you are at your core. That is a decision you have to take. That my core values remain. If I am an ethical person, I will remain ethical. But if I am finding that I am unable to adjust to this environment, I have to think of a change of the organization or the department or something. So that is what we have to clearly distinguish. So adapting to change does not change your core state. So these are some of the tips. How do you adapt to organizational changes? And I don't think there's much to explain in this. So the points are pretty simple. The only thing I want to touch upon here is why have I suddenly brought in this concept of culture? Right? It's exactly for the same reason, and it is easier to understand when we talk of the family. All of us, if we just compare the way we dealt with our parents at the age that our kids are, right? And maybe even today, when we are grown up and we are all working and we are economically independent and probably have acquired more formal qualifications and experience than our parents. But do you see clear shift in the way you were interacting with your parents? That was the family culture. But today's family culture is quite different. So exactly the same way, if things are changing at home, these are the very kids who are growing up to become organizational executives. So if they are used to a certain kind of environment, they will carry that environment to the organization. So if you are unable to change the culture of the organization, then you will not remain relevant. So when you have this, what should I say, conflict between people, you need to sit down and see, have these kind of things. Don't expect anybody to change in a day. Give time to adjust, be flexible, work with an open mind, never crib. Positivity is very, very important. Cribbing does not solve any problem. Just face the problem. Yes, it is there. Accept it. Acceptance is the first. If I don't accept that I have sickness, I will never get well. I have to accept that I am not well, and then I have to go for the right kind of medication. Always look at the positive. So never crib and always look at positive solutions. Alternate plans. Don't just marry yourself later on, also, the ship is there. Always have a plan B and B in place. Whatever you plan may not go that way. What will you do then? Do not get too attached to someone at work. Again, a very important thing. If you are too attached to someone, you will not be able to alter a person's responsibility, though he or she may have outgrown the responsibility that is allocated to him or her, and today it needs to be done in a different way, and he or she just does not have that capability. Can you find an alternative placement for such a person? Right? So those are some of the adaptability issues. Further, again a few pointers, nothing much to explain. So humor works well at times, right? And some things are explained best through humor. Again, unfortunately, in a world dominated by, in terms of numbers, that is, majority of the people are very emotional in their, and more so in India. To talk about problems more than feelings. Now, somebody told me about Swami Vivekananda's quote. I have not read it, so I can't say whether it is documented where it is. But the essence was very interesting. He says at the end of his US trip, the 1890, that famous speech at Chicago and all of that, some American asked him, what is your message to Americans and your message to Indians? And he summed it up in one sentence. He said, Americans need to feel a little more and think a little less. And Indians need to think a little more and feel a little less. So that point is reflected beautifully. Talk about problems more than feelings. Feelings are not going to solve organizational problems. What is the problem and how do we go there? What is the best solution to handle this? Do not stress out about stressing out. Face the situation as it comes rather than, I remember a beautiful dialogue from the film Anand, that Rajesh Khanna's Anand, where he says, when everybody says you are so sick, this, that, you should do. So his answer is that the problem with us is that something will happen or not happen 6 months or 6 years down. We all think about that and bring it into our today's life and make it happen. The reality is most of the things that we think about will never happen. So, and if at all it happens, yes, mental preparation should be there, agreed. But do not unnecessarily stress out about आज का समय सोच नहीं रहे हैं अरे यार कोविड अगर 10 साल चला तो क्या होगा अरे भाई आज तो पहले ठीक से जी लो so we need to get able to be stressed about that and that is the way senior people have to the senior shows um, symptoms of stress the juniors are also going to have that. Focus on your values instead of your fears. Accept the past but fight for the future. And very important, don't expect stability. So always be battle ready kind of a situation. Adaptability and change. What is the link? You can read through. Again, I don't think there's much to explain. The first sentence is about the definition of adaptability. So you need to change your habits is the message in the second sentence. The third one is saying it could also be when you cannot change the way you work even after your actual job has changed. That means it is a clear reflection that you are failing to adapt to your new work environment. If my job is training and teaching, and suddenly this change has happened and I have to do it online. Maybe I'm not able to do it to the level that I can do it physically, because with games, with exercises, with body language, lot of things, that is what we are all used to. But what is the option? So I cannot just say no, 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 no. Online is just not on. We have to adapt to this reality and still try our best to make it as interesting or as knowledge sharing as much possible. A simple tip to boost your adaptability skills. Again, it talks about thought process. So thinking is more important than feeling. I'm not talking about personal relationships here. I'm talking about professional, organizational relations. Force yourself to take risks. And there's that joke, na? Somebody says, I have never made any mistake in life. So somebody says, but what work have you done? So he says, no, no, I have not done any work. So if you have not done any work, how can you ever make a mistake? So same thing here. No risk, no gain is a very, very old saying. So there can be only, hardly any progress if you do not take some risk. Encourage others to be open-minded, and for that, of course, you need to be open-minded to begin. Don't close your mind to ideas. Listen to them carefully. I'm not saying, see, people do not understand this difference. Listening does not mean accepting. No one is saying that you must accept what I am saying. That's ridiculous. I'm only saying, listen to me. Let us have a discussion. Please raise objections. Let me see if I can handle those objections. And then see, either you convince me or I convince you. That is the logical, rational way of solving problems. Okay. Another thing that people tend to do is, and I keep on reinforcing this, people cannot differentiate between right and wrong. That's one concept. And real and unreal is quite another. Right and wrong means what? There should be no stealing, that is right. No one should tell lies, that is right. If somebody tells lies, that is wrong. So there's hardly any problem. But the reality is that people are stealing your stuff, barging into your house, and thieves are barging into your house and running away with your stuff. That is, so you keep on saying, "ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए." How does that solve the problem? So please come into the real world. क्या होना चाहिए नहीं होना चाहिए is not important. क्या हो रहा है is important. And you have to solve the problem at the क्या हो रहा है level rather than क्या होना चाहिए और नहीं होना चाहिए. तो ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए था. ऑब्वियसली चाइना को ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए था सब कंट्रीज के साथ. चाइना तो कर दिया. अब राइट रॉन्ग उसको आप यही बोलते रहोगे क्या कि चाइना को नहीं करना चाहिए था, या यू विल टेक सम एक्शन. So that encourage people to be open-minded, and the first process in that is listen. Listen to all sorts of ideas. Then use your brain to analyze and decide what you will accept and what you will not accept. And learning is a lifelong concept today. Every moment is a learning moment, and we must keep on learning. There is no final idea. Further, obviously, it needs flexibility. Now, if you recall in our first term, I talked about the Krishna model of leadership, which is nothing but flexibility. Different situations, he handles in different ways. He doesn't use a formula solution. That is what is. Right? So, you need to understand that with every change, you need to change your leadership style, your management style, and all. So flexibility is very, very rigid policies will not help you in managing organizations well in the current. And the whole topic today is about change. if you have to handle change, as you can see the main heading, the subheading rather, adapting to change requires flexibility. And if you come to the last paragraph, adaptability is a requirement. There's no option. Because change is constant and inevitable, leaders must be flexible to that means you will have to be adaptable to the newly emerged situation. Only then you can be successful. Last one or two slides. So, research confirmed this imperative to end. Imperative is compulsion, right? You just cannot survive without adapting. The most frequent cited success factor for managers was the ability to develop something new or adapt to something new. That is what is the biggest success factor for managers today. Adaptability is about ready access to a range of behaviors, not one single behavior. Range of behaviors that enable leaders to shift and experiment as things change. You should be able to change gear. A good driver is always able to do that, right? Just as in a car driving. So, what are the tips for executives to be successful? Okay, so these are some of the tips for successful executives. If you are unable to adapt, the inability to develop or adapt was the most frequently cited reason for career derailment. Either they lose their jobs or their colleagues grow in the organization, they aren't able to grow. This is because inflexible leaders limit the capability or adaptability of the others on the team. So they remain stagnant. New initiatives may be halted or stifled because of your inability to develop or resistance to change may undermine critical projects or system-wide implementation. Employee enthusiasm, cooperation, morale, creativity are jeopardized, making it all the more difficult to run the business. Okay? So, inability to develop or adapt is the most crucial negative factor, and ability to adapt and develop is the most important for the how to adapt to change. Again, flexibility. They seek new and innovative ways to solve problems, master new skills, view disruption as a challenge rather than a threat. Needed to prevail through uncertainty. COVID is a huge disruption, but we are all trying to find our way in this new environment. They not only have to respond to change, but also have to steer the change. Then only you are a leader, otherwise you are a follower. Right? So we are in leadership role. And mind you, every single executive has some kind of leadership, maybe limited or maybe more, and we need to look at it. So that is how we adapt. Again, a few tips here to end. How do you become a flexible leader? And how do you adapt to change because of your flexibility? Keep on asking, wonder, explore, consider before you judge and decide. I mentioned the second point already. Do not go with a single plan. You must have a plan B and C ready. Create your support system. Again, we have talked about individual versus team. You may be a brilliant individual, but how much can you achieve in 24 hours? There are limitations. So do not go it. Always look for support system and encourage your employees also to do the same. Understand your own reaction to change. You have to be clear about your own emotions and thoughts about changes so that you can be straightforward with them. If you have no clarity in your mind as what is the situation, why you need to change, what changes are needed. And I'm not saying that you are always clear in your head. You can keep your team's idea, suggest, and work out a solution jointly. That's very much possible, and that is the way it should be. And immerse yourself in the new environment and situation. Practice by joining activities, meeting new people, trying new things on a regular basis. Keep on doing some study or the other, little, so that you are not caught unaware. And we have already talked about the VUCA world. So what all can go wrong in a VUCA? And then create your scenario. And one of the scenarios is likely to definitely help in handling the situation that you have. So this is the content that we had for this topic. Tomorrow we will get into more of the force field analysis and understanding of the crucial dimensions, some other crucial dimensions of it. Any questions? We have already exceeded the time, but then in the initial stage we had already something has to be done about my laptop. I don't know why it was not connecting. And my apologies that you could not see me today, but I don't think it really matters so long as. And I hope you have received the topic 5 and 6 which I sent yesterday night, the PPT. And this is 7. So 7, and tomorrow we complete 8 and then send you this. Is that all right? You can unmute and probably if you have any query, clarification. Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Anybody?
sir.
Any question? If no questions, then we can.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah, Andrilla here.
Yeah, please.
Yes, so we have a case study, so probably we can discuss it tomorrow.
Which one? The one I sent, or you have a case of your own?
No, the one on healthcare, the home health service. There were two companies which.
Yeah,
Right,
you have
right.
given us two
Right.
case studies.
We would like to discuss that tomorrow.
Oh, yes, sure. Why not? Sure. And just in case you have any other case that you want to handle, you can send it to me and I can go through and make my notes on that. So that's also a possibility. But this has already been sent, so please do. Tomorrow, let's do that.
Yeah, we would like to discuss it tomorrow if we at the beginning, if we can.
We can start with that only.
Case study. Yeah, that would.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
Certainly.
Fine. Okay.
So the cultures did not match. That is about this only.
Yes,
in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Their processes, procedures,
yeah,
culture,
process-driven
everything was
industry. Yeah.
And that created.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Please remind me right in the beginning.
Yeah, we'll do that.
10-15 minutes by the time everybody joins in, and then
Yeah.
we can do.
Yeah.
Perfect. Any other? Did the hissing sound continue throughout or what? Hello? 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 Are we ending?
We can. Where is the
That
room?
hissing sound, did it disturb throughout or did it go off?
Excuse me, sir.
Please.
So sorry to ask, I was a bit late, but a few of us have not attended all the lectures, so why we have not got the case. How can I get the case so when I join in tomorrow, I'll be ready?
Please write, just send me a test mail. And because I have mailed it to all the email IDs that I have.
Okay. So, sir,
So in case
email
just
ID,
in case
yes.
your email ID is not added on, please send it to me. You send a test mail for me to immediately send you the case to begin with, and I will add it to the list of others in case I find. Whatever email IDs are available with me, I think 10 of them or 11 are available. So
Okay.
I
So,
send it to all of them together.
sir, should I
So
message?
yesterday night I have sent 2 PPTs. That also you have not got.
No, sir, I was not there yesterday. So, shall I?
No, I'm talking of email. I
Yes,
have
sir.
sent PPTs of topic 5 and 6 yesterday night. That
Yeah.
also you have got or no?
No, sir, I've not got. So I guess I was not here when
What
you.
about the others?
Huh.
Yeah, we got it, sir.
Sir, I think
So that means,
I asked.
your email ID is not there.
Yes, sir. My email ID would not be there with you. So how can I go about getting it?
Do you have email ID?
Okay, sir. I'll email you on which ID? Can you please share that again?
You can
Please
just
for
type it in
Tamil.
the chat box here.
My this thing is just, let me see if I can.
When
But
somebody
it's
else
pretty
types
simple.
first ID, I will take it then. If somebody else can also do that.
Then what I suggest you do is you take my mobile number, send me a WhatsApp message, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, sir.
981 981
Yes, sir.
00